Hello,
How's things?
Josh. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You said you're in Wales at the moment, yeah?
No, I'm back now. I'm
Oh,
back
you're
now.
back. Okay.
It
All
was a
right.
very
What's
short
in
trip.
Wales? Have you got? Are you Welsh?
I'm not Welsh. No, we've got clients over there. So yeah, went over to see a few clients. Did a podcast over there as well. It was very much a go 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 type of trip. So yeah, I'm
So where
back.
did you go in Wales?
Went to Swansea.
Okay, amazing, man. The accent's very strong.
It is very strong. It is very strong. It's quite. It was interesting actually because it's quite a neglected area, but
Yeah.
there's some young guns that we've obviously took on that's got this drive in them and this fire in them to kind of get out of that area and break that area and do well. So
Yeah.
it's quite nice to have those conversations with like these early 20-year-olds who are just like wanting to kill it and wanting to break out of that area. So it's pretty cool.
Well, growing up poor's probably been my best advantage, so I can definitely relate.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I was looking at your socials. So when we messaged, and I was already following you,
Yeah.
and you're obviously doing really good things. But I want to understand more about what you're doing and a bit about you as well. So like, um, who is Josh? Like, what's your background? Are you from like a fitness background? Because I've seen obviously on your Limitless network, you do so many different industries.
Yeah.
So do you cover the fitness arm of it? Is that your background, or I want to learn a bit more about you?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, my background, I've been in the fitness industry for 11 years now. So it's
Yeah.
quite a long time. So, kind of started off as an apprentice. I've had every job role within the fitness industry. So, I've been an apprentice, been a class instructor. Even looking at me, you probably already think it. I've done spin classes. I've
Yeah, yeah.
sales. I've been in management. I've ran gyms. I've done everything. I've done absolutely everything. I've grown my own online coaching company. I've grown other personal trainers companies on the gym floor. And
Yeah.
it's kind of over time, it's just developed into me. People have kind of approached me over time asking for help and how to kind of develop and how to kind of grow their own businesses, you see. And then that's kind of, this is a shortened version. That's kind of led to about 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
I was mentoring personal trainers, but then I got asked to join the Limitless team, which is probably what you see now. So Limitless University, and yeah, at the moment I'm part of the core team. It's probably the best way to kind of say it. Part of the core team that runs and grows and develops Limitless University moving forward. But
Yeah.
yeah, the way that we kind of work is we have individual mentors that are part of each industry and
Yeah.
we work one to one with each and every client that we bring on. So it's not a group mentorship or anything like that. It's very bespoke, very hands on, and that's why we get the results that we do. I mean, as you probably know, you can't necessarily say the same thing to everybody and expect everyone to get results. And it's got
No.
to be bespoke. It's got to be tailored to that individual person. So, yeah, my background is primarily fitness, but it's kind of evolved over time into building the skill sets to help out other industries as well.
And obviously, it was your experience early on over that decade that allows you to teach to the level that you can teach now and gives you that authority to teach. So, like
Right.
when you said that you were everything from spin classes to running gyms, were these like commercial gyms, independent gyms? Like, tell me a bit more about like that background because it's a similar background to what I'm from. If you can relate. So, I worked for leisure. I had a bodybuilding gym when I was 19. I sold it, went to leisure centers. After leisure centers, I worked for like a big commercial chain for 7 years, doing very similar things to what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I want to understand more about your background. So like I feel like I can relate to you.
Yeah, sure, sure. Probably a similar thing to you. I mean, it's been quite varied. So the three main gyms that I've been a part of. So the first one was when I was an apprentice. So I was actually an apprentice at a budget style gym, and we
Mm.
actually opened that gym. So that was quite an exciting experience actually from quite a young age.
You did
So
like a pre-launch, yeah?
I did a pre-launch. Yeah, I was leafleting around
Yeah.
the town centre. You know the score back then. Fitting the
Yes.
equipment, like bringing the
Yeah.
dumbbells in. That was quite heavy. I remember about broke my back. I picked up the
Mike
60s,
Tyson.
trying to take them all the way to the weights room, and yeah, so that was my first experience, kind of opening a gym
Yeah.
and being exposed to every single component because at the time there was two apprentices and one manager at the time, so it was a really small team. So we were
Mm.
exposed to every angle. So we were exposed to sales, we are exposed to how the service, the systems, the CRM, everything kind of worked from like 17, 18 years of age. So that was quite a cool experience. The second gym that I was mainly a big part of was David Lloyd. So that was more in the sales side of things because that was a weakness of mine at the time. So I was part of that, and obviously growing and closing people a little bit more high ticket. I was exposed to that. And then the last main gym that I was a part of was more of an independent personal training studio. So it was like a gym / personal training studio hybrid, where all the personal trainers had their own sort of businesses within it. And that's where I kind of fell into the mentorship of working with personal trainers. Quite varied, really.
Yes, it's really easy to understand why you're good at what you do now. Because, let's say David Lloyd's, for example, when you work there, when you have that monthly budget, so you have a budget of 70, 80, 90 members, however much you want to get, and you learn the process very early on of how many leads I need, and then how those leads will convert to sales and appointments and show ratio and close ratio. All those things that you learn very early on. And now when you think about it, if you've done that for 7, 8, 9 years, and you've got to teach that now, it gives you that authority that we spoke about because you've done it now. There are thousands of reps. Because membership sales, it is like you see so many people, so you just keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah, 100%. And to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I actually reached out to you, because as you know, there are a lot of mentors now. There are a lot of people trying to teach. But what really resonated with your content and watching what you do is that you'd actually been there, done it, got the T-shirt yourself, had your own failures, learned from them. And that's essentially why I reached out, because I want to connect with more people that know what they're doing. So we can create almost like this community, and I can connect with people who are legit. Because there are a lot of people now, as you probably know, they probably blow up their coaching business in 6 months, and then all of a sudden they're a mentor. You need that.
So how does someone avoid that? So like a lot of the times when, let's say someone was to come to one of us and they go to someone online who's got 20 clients online and now mentoring people, how do you differentiate? How does that customer actually know who to go to? Because it is confusing, because my content might not look as good as somebody else's. So visually and audially, when you listen to it, if someone is beating you on that side, how do you portray your knowledge?
Yeah, I think people have just got to do their research and not just sway into a shiny object syndrome, because you might have a very successful online coach who's blown up very quickly, let's say, and then all of a sudden they release a mentorship, and because you bought into them as a coach, you then buy into them as a mentor. Massive difference. They might have years of experience as a coach, but not as a mentor. So I think actually doing your research and actually really getting to know that person, what results have they actually done, what processes do they have, what experience do they have. I was actually on a podcast in Wales, and they asked me a similar question: what defines a very good mentor to you? And my answer was, well, look at what you're actually buying. You're buying time. So for example, if you buy into me, you're buying 11 years of experience. So you're buying 11 years off me. It's the time, it's the experience, it's the lessons that you actually learn along the way, so you don't make them. I mean, I'm sure you're the same, right? There wasn't mentors back then. Like we didn't have that luxury.
Well, our mentors were our line managers. The only mentors we had, and if we were lucky enough to have a mentor who was driving us, pushing us, and also had more knowledge, wasn't just progressing because they shook the right hand, that determined how well we progressed. Now, obviously, with YouTube, I can search whatever it is. I can learn anything at speed, but I didn't have that then.
Yeah, exactly. So true.
And, and look at like David Lloyd. So I want to use that example because it's like a really easy example to understand. When you worked in sales, there was all these departments. There was, you probably had a crush there. You probably had operations manager, and you had all these different departments, but you had to know as a salesperson, how do I take this prospect for the tour and ensure I touch points with every single thing, every part of their emotion, make sure they see all the right things, feel the right things, and then when I close them the right way, knowing the entire journey throughout that experience. And now when you're selling something like Limitless, and it's got so many departments, you've done your huddle call this morning, I've seen you posted about, and then you've got your different industries that you're dealing with. Now, when you speak to someone and a prospect comes in, you know exactly how to guide them through that journey, just because you did it for 10 years.
That's right. That's exactly right. And it's like we kind of mentioned, we didn't have mentors back then. So when I entered the world of sales, I entered it because I was crap at it. I didn't know what I was doing. At the time, I
Did
was
you ever
very
get
good.
nervous picking up the phone?
Absolutely, I used to, because I remember I was
Yeah.
sat in the office. In the office, we were sat there. There were 3 sales consultants when I started, and then the sales manager was behind me as well. So we had to dial 100 people a day, otherwise we couldn't go home.
Yes.
And those first few calls, I just felt her just eyes and ears just burning into the back of my head, and I was very, very, very nervous to pick up the phone. But again, it's the repetition when you don't have things like mentors and access to that information like you do now. It's all trial and error, and that's probably what we both went through.
Well, you keep getting punched in the face until you don't have to block, instead of someone teaching you how to block.
Perfect analogy. Perfect analogy.
No, that's really good. And then now, so when I'm working with you, how does it work? So is everything that you do now through Limitless, do you also work independently? So I want to learn, like, because if someone listens to this and they want to work with you, like, how does it work?
Yeah, so I made the decision about 6 months ago to go 6 to 9 months ago to go all in with Limitless University. And we had a chat as a team about this. Obviously, we have our fingers in a few additional pies that don't really take up much of our time. But in regards to our main sort of job role, we had this conversation and we said, well, Michael Jordan only played basketball. Like we can't continue being these serial entrepreneurs where our fingers are and our time's completely divided. So we all made the decision as almost like the core team to just go all in. And that's why we made the shift from Limitless Mentoring, which it was, to Limitless University, and like what you can kind of see now. And we've genuinely, we have created something that is the best this planet has ever seen. Like I've got the full confidence in that. So the way that you kind of work with us, you choose your industry. So let's say you wanted to come in with fitness, right? You come in, you would do a consultation with us. We would actually see if you're the right fit for us. So a lot of people say that, but we genuinely turn people away because our entire reputation has been built on results. And if we're having a conversation with you, we know that you're not going to put the work in, or you just want to achieve a 10K month, let's say, and there's no actual fucking reason behind it. You're not the right person for us because we know that you're not going to put the work in. It's not easy. You still got to work hard. You still got to like absolutely crush it with what you actually do and stay consistent with what you do. But we then map out the exact steps that you need from your current position to go from point A to point B where you actually want to achieve. And then the great thing about what we've done now with Limitless University, let's say you do a fitness mentorship with us and you grow your fitness business. And then let's say you've got this exposable income. Now you've got access to a real estate mentor or an e-commerce mentor or a finance mentor. We've got accountants.
So it's a feeder. It's also a feeder for you to earn more in other industries.
Yes, correct.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that's the thing for us. We want anyone that comes into Limitless, we want it to be a one-stop shop for everything that they want to achieve in life. Like that's the main sort of mission that we want to achieve.
And is there, like, I imagine, as well as the one-on-one mentoring, they're getting group sessions. How else are they benefiting? How else are they like learning? Do they have a platform to learn from? Are they on like a Monday.com? What other like tools do they have?
Yeah, Monday.com is quite funny actually. So we started using that 4 years ago. Now everybody seems to be using it. So yeah, that's our task-based system for one-to-one work. But they've got access to group calls that we just throw in additionally. So the Monday morning huddle this morning, which is more of like a kick up the ass, motivational, get you around the right people, get you fired up for the week. As you know, it can be quite lonely when you're working for yourself. So that's really important. We've got group calls from every industry leader within the university. So let's say you wanted to jump on a real estate call this week or an e-commerce, you wanted to learn a little bit more about that. And then within the actual university itself, there's courses on absolutely everything that we're like gradually building out. Like I said, it's only been the last 6 to 9 months, but we're getting there. So things like on time management, on objection handling, on content creation, on how to manage your finances, absolutely everything. We're just trying to build it out. So again, it kind of goes back to we want to make it a one-stop shop for everybody that comes through.
That's so good. And you said Michael Jordan only played basketball.
Yeah.
And only 6 months ago, I made the decision because I own a chain of sports rehab clinics in London. And so they're called Assemble Therapy. And over the last 7-8 years, we've had everything from care home contracts, helped strength athletes. And I had to make the decision between one or the other. a lot of people that I spoke to said to me, why don't you just run both, get one manager and he'll run both for you, run for you. And I knew deep down that for me to build something really big, I have to go all in on one thing. So that's why in Guided Growth now, it's 100% of my focus. And even my family, friends were so confused that I had a lucrative business that I was taking, like saying, I'm going to take a step back from this to do something else. It didn't make sense to a lot of people. And you've probably been there and done something similar.
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love that. And it's probably the most difficult decision you probably ever had to make as well. But when you see the growth of Guided Growth, like going all into it, the speed in which you grow and the speed in which we've grown from our experience doing that, because we're still learning as we're going as well. Like everybody's not perfect, everybody's not a complete expert on everything. When we made that decision, the company's just gone. It's been the best decision that we've ever made, and I'm sure it's going to be the best decision for you. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I feel it already. I feel like it's already been the best decision. Who's your mentor? Who have you gone to for like mentorship?
If I'm honest, I try and do something every quarter. So it's not necessarily a mentor now. So I will pay for courses, I'll pay for events. I'm just the reason selfishly that I want to do as many podcasts like this is possible because I can learn something from you. And then the next one I do, I can learn something from the next person. For me, it's just trying to have as many conversations as possible with people who are very, very good at what they do. So I can take, even if I take one thing away from that, it's one thing that I can then learn and like grow my level of knowledge each and every time. Like recently, I just paid 10K for like a course in America. Like I'll do quite a lot of events this year. Just trying to always invest back into myself as much as possible.
That's incredible, man. Because people who are mentoring, I find that they also are willing to be mentored because you know that there's more to learn because you're constantly giving, and that energy that you're giving out needs to be filled, and it gets filled with you constantly learning new things. And that comes from, for example, when you're making $1 million, $2 million a year, you're then going to find someone who's making 10 million a year and be like, how did you fill that gap between 2 and 10 million? How did you get there? What was it? Because for us to not have that wealth there, 2 to 10 million, there's obviously a knowledge gap. So we need to learn it, and someone's got to teach it to us.
100%. And that's something to take away for someone that's interested in mentorship as well. Like too many people, they look at mentors, they look at people who have made it, and they're so afraid of asking them, how did you do what you do? It's like if anyone's following you right now and they're interested, how did you do that? Don't be afraid to reach out and ask him. It's like I reached out to you. I want to connect. Like, I want to learn more about what you do. Whereas, and that's how you can really, really grow and develop. It's like if Wes Watson actually says this quite often on his podcast. Like I don't know if you've heard of Wes Watson. Yeah, very, very extrinsic character.
Yeah, very stern, hard, and it's got his target audience are very different to my target audience, but I love some of the things he says.
Yeah, but the biggest, that's it, he's a different character, but the biggest thing that really resonated with me with what he said, he was like, I roll up to the gym in my Urus or my Bentley or my Rolls, and there's not a single fucking person that asks me how I make money. It's bizarre. Yeah. And it's so right. He's so right, because there's so many people that follow you. There's so many people that follow me and what we do, and they will just, we see them. They're just watching our stories, and they will never ever reach out ever. And it's bizarre to me. And I've always had the opposite sort of mindset. I just want to reach out to as many people as possible.
You can hear leadership in someone's voice. So I hear it in your voice, and the reason why I mention it is when I listened to Wes Watson, and he was in the prison. He was the guy you checked in with when you came into the prison. You go in, and then you say, right, Wes, can I exist in this prison in your territory? And he will then say, I will allow you to. Very much a dictatorship, not the way I run things and not the way you run things, but he had leadership quality. And that leadership quality is like, you can hear it in someone's voice because they're not unsure. They're sure in their words, they're assertive, and they know exactly the direction that they're going in.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. Absolutely love that. Yeah, I've not no one's picked that up on me before. Well, they've never said it to me anyway. They probably just allowed me to like lead them. But yeah,
you might not feel it. You might not feel it because you're part of a wider community. So Limitless, there's many leaders on there. You're leader of fitness. And then, so I don't know Elliot, but I've seen him on socials. So if he's a leader of that business, now that doesn't mean you're not a leader. That means you're also a leader because people are coming to you for leadership. So it's for you to actually accept that first, then others accept it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're completely right. So the way that the kind of structure of the company set up, Elliot's the leader of the leaders. So you're completely right. And then we're the individual leaders of the clients that we actually work with. So you're completely right.
Yeah, that's a great setup. And so, like, what's your mission? So, like, on like a personal note, why, like, if I said to you, like, what's your mission? Because obviously you're helping so many people. It's easy, like, you're going to make money, but then me, I'm a bit of a funny character because I don't really want clothes and cars. So I just like working. And I'm still trying to figure out my deeper mission because I have this philosophy which is money allows you to be your true self. So if you want to be charitable, you can't be if you've not made the money. So if you truly want to be charitable, be a capitalist, make the money, and then go give to the causes that you need to. And then, so I would ask you, like, what's your mission? What are you after?
For me, I would say it's freedom. So I grew up with two very, very incredibly hardworking parents. That's probably where it's been instilled in me. Hardworking, but not smart working. Like big difference. So that's something that I've had to learn sort of along the way. But growing up, there was always stress around money. Like even to this day, there's always stress around money. So for me, it was always just to create a life where I'm not stressed around money, and also the freedom aspect that kind of comes with that. I'm genuinely my happiest, very similar to you. I only buy the odd like nice watch or nice clothes just because we're mentors. If we don't show that we've got money, no one's going to invest in us. So there's got to be an element of us showing that we've got money. But I'm probably very similar to you. That stuff just doesn't stimulate me whatsoever. I'm genuinely my happiest when I've got my suitcase and my laptop and I can go anywhere in the world whenever I want with who I want, talk to who I want, and my days on my terms. Like that's the most fulfilling thing for me.
Not sure if I mentioned to you, but I'm in Thailand this week. I'm right here now.
Yeah, how are you finding it?
I love it. Do you know? And then I'll probably be going to Sydney in a week and a half. It's just being able to move around quickly. Thailand's been a good place for me to come because my web developers and coders are all here. So I can come in, check in with them, make sure they're building out all the membership sites for our clients. And then I can go off and see friends and clients in different territories. But it does get quite confusing when you're in 4 different time zones and then you have to book a call. And then you've told someone 3 o'clock and you're trying to count the hours constantly on different time zones. It does get a bit confusing sometimes.
Yeah, that's why Calendly's our best friend. It just automatically.
Yeah, I know. It works out for you.
Yeah, it does. It does. So how long have you been in Thailand for?
For a week.
For a week.
The main reason why I came was I was getting distracted in London. And I was getting distracted not by partying or anything like that, because I'm not much of I'm not into that lifestyle. I was getting distracted because I had clinics and I kept jumping tasks. So I had contracts with care homes in Northwest London. I don't know if you know London well. We have contracts with all the different care homes there. So there'd be so many fires to like put out throughout the day. It would never let me get into a deep workflow. So the main thing was pulling me away from that environment, coming somewhere completely different and be like, I'm just going to work.
Yeah. How much more focused are you now that you've done that?
Do you know, I felt so fulfilled after the first day of work. I finally had 7 hours of work. I went to a cafe, I did 7 hours of work. And the fact that I just could work, it gave me that inner peace that I was wanting, that I could just work without 10,000 things happening.
Love that. Love that. And that's it. It allows you to work towards what you truly want to achieve with no distractions, like you kind of just mentioned. That's exactly what we went through. Is one of the lessons that we kind of learned the hard way. Like when you're like an entrepreneur, you're very driven, you see opportunity, you just say yes to everything. But actually learning the word no is probably one of the most powerful things that you can probably do.
Yeah. And look, you come from a sales background. How many side hustles have you had in your life?
Oh my God. How long have we got?
Yeah.
For me, it's always been, I've always had all of these ideas, right?
Yeah.
You've got to go through all of those ideas to kind of figure out exactly like what your strong suit is. So I've had clothing companies in the past. I've dabbled in marketing, web development. We actually run a funnel service now, actually, as well. That's one of the things that I've got, but I'm very hands off with that, so it's not a distraction. All sorts, absolutely. I think the first side hustle I had when I was 12, 13. So when I was at school, I was quite a geek. When I was at school, I used to build. Oh, sorry, what was that?
I said I was the same. I'm still a geek.
Yeah, we all are at heart. We all are at heart. But yeah, I used to be. Do you remember the Pixo website builder back in the day?
Yeah.
So I used to build I built a gaming website, and there I used to take code from online games like Club Penguin and like things like that from back in the day, and I used to password protect it. And then I used to say to the kids at school, you can have access to this all-in-one online gaming site, so you don't have to like search for different games and different sites. Just come through my site, every single game that you would want, pay me £1 and I'll give you the password. And that was almost like my first, and then that £1 I would save it up, and then I'd buy fish and chips at the end of the week.
So you've been selling access to a membership site behind a paywall for 20 years?
Yes, correct.
Because if you think about it, really, that is in essence what that was. It was, give me this money so you have access to this platform.
Yeah, I just wanted fish and chips, and we did. That's all it was. When you're a kid, you don't think anything differently. But I suppose being brought up around, so both my parents are self-employed, but like I said, they've always been hardworking. They've always had their own businesses, but they've always been solopreneurs. Like they've never trusted anyone to delegate, or never wanted to scale. Like been very skeptical on like really ramping business up, but both very very hardworking. So it probably came from them without me even realizing at the time. Me sort of doing that as like a young age.
And then, like you said, your parents are really hardworking. Is there anything that you wanted as a kid that you weren't able to get? Because I find those things actually create a deep emotion for like desire in the future, because you went without when you were young.
Yeah, I never went without. I never. That's the one thing I will say. I never went without. I mean, when my dad got made redundant, when I was very very young, he took the redundancy money and bought me and my brother an Xbox for Christmas because he didn't want us to go without, and it broke.
What a legend!
He's the best. He's always been the hardest worker in the room. And that's where it's come from. The only thing that really drove me as a kid is my dad was probably a little bit over opinionated. So, for example, if I wanted to do something that was against his like what he thought, or like, he's very close-minded but very hardworking. So if he thinks something won't work, he'll just be very direct. That won't work. So I had to kind of prove him wrong quite a few steps along the way to really open his mind up. And even to this day, he's still a bit, because I'm moving my company to Dubai, and like I'm going to Dubai this year. Oh, why would you do that? Like, you got to be careful. Like he's just very skeptical on everything in life. That's probably been the one thing that's really driven me, just proving him wrong all the time. I quite like that feeling as well. It really pushes me.
Yeah, it's a nice thing to be able to take risks, but like not fear of losing everything, because your skills are still going to be there. And a lot of people forget that. If you lost everything, your skills are still there, so you just make it back again.
Yeah, it's so easy to make money these days. Like you said, now I've got the knowledge. I mean, if I was broke tomorrow, like I'd be fine. I'd still be able to get a roof over my head pretty quickly. So yeah, you're right.
I've mentioned this on the podcast before. There's 4,000 new millionaires in America every month, and there's 4,000 people that have climbed Mount Everest ever. So now it's easier to make $1 million than it is to climb Mount Everest.
I fucking love that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
that's
so
crazy.
It's just it is crazy. And if you think of the amount of billionaires that are being created, it's just because there's so much knowledge. It's just so much more accessible. Like I can speak to you from the other side of the world, and I'm going to take away a valuable lesson from here that will relate to me earning some more money. And that's very hard to connect with people in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we've got these now, don't we? We've got these. Like we can connect to anybody, and that's why it's so much easier now. It's not like we're door knocking or like we're having to meet people in person to build a connection. We can.
If I didn't have to door knock, I would love it. A part of me would think, great.
Yeah. That's it. Sometimes miss that side of things, but at the same time, it is creating I don't know what your opinion on this is, but it is creating a very lazy generation. Like even my sister, my sister's 10 years younger than me. She's petrified of picking up the phone and like calling somebody. It's quite worrying.
Have you ever thought that your hard work making it easier for the next generation allows them to be lazier?
Yeah, I agree.
So, but then, you know, the term strong men create weak men create strong men. It's that term where there's an 80-year cycle where weak people have to get strong, that create strong people that get weaker over time because things get easier. So it's just that cycle that goes around. And that is probably what's happening now. We're coming to a time where people are going to get weaker. And then those weak people will create strong people out of the need. And then more weak people will come after that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why now's probably the easiest time to make money ever. Because we've even got AI now, but people are still turning a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
Like it's never.
What bits of AI do you use? So in your day-to-day, what bits of AI? Because like I do quite a bit of research in AI. They talk about the singularity, about this moment of AGI that's going to be coming. So what types of AI do you use, and like how do you use it?
So within Limitless, we've actually got an AI team now. So we've got like a full-time researcher, someone that is testing software all the time, because we deliver a weekly AI call, like almost like a lesson to everyone within the university. We've got like AI call. We've been very, very quick on the ball because we know this is the next thing. Like when the internet came about, like this is how big this is. So if you're not talking about AI or using AI, then you're really missing the boat. So yeah, we're using different softwares all the time. Me personally, I love to use Otter. So Otter is a transcriptor. So every time I do a one-to-one call, it will take the transcript and then I can pass that into bullet point. I can turn that into a bullet point version, and then pass that to clients after the call. So they've got like a bullet point list of exactly what we spoke about, just to kind of re-jog their memory. So that's quite good. Video is very good for long-form content like this. I can upload this into video and it will automatically crop down, subtitle, and make portrait for your content for short form.
Yeah, I use Video AI. Is that the one that you're using? Video AI? Yeah. That's the one I use.
Yeah, that's the one.
Easy.
That's the one. 11 Labs is very good. So 11 Labs can turn your text into a voice note. So we had a little bit of a joke about usually ask me, are you a VA? And I was like, no, look, I promise I'm not. I had to send him a voice note because a lot of people are skeptical now, aren't they?
And because I want to a lot of the time speak directly to the person, and I see no issue in just asking straight away, because I've got no issue dealing with a VA because they're a gatekeeper. The same way in a 20 years ago, a business had a receptionist. It's no different now. So that gatekeeper would be the first person that you got to bypass. And a lot of the times now when I message someone, I need to identify, am I speaking to a gatekeeper or am I speaking to the person? And then I can change my conversation accordingly.
Yeah, 100%. But no, I personally don't have a VA. I probably never will. The reason being for me, yes, you can scale faster and whatnot, but the biggest value that I've always got and I've always kind of used is, I mean, I don't have a huge following. I've got 2,800 people on my Instagram. It's not a lot of people, right? But I pride myself.
If all those 2,000 were your customers, you wouldn't have the time of the day. So that's actually more than you need.
But that's the thing, they are.
Yeah.
So every single one of them I've spoken to personally. That's the key thing. And when people start to use a VA, they start to grow their following, they start to blow up. It's like we've spoken, obviously won't name any names or anything like that, but we've spoken to influencers who have hundreds of thousands of followers and they're poor. Like they don't connect to their customer, they're lazy, like they're just random followers who just follow them. But from the outside perspective, they're looking in like, oh, they're killing it. And they'll probably look at an account like mine, oh, well, he's probably not doing that well. Whereas it's actually the opposite, because I've connected with like 2,800 people in a room, let's say. It's a lot of people.
I actually sat with the head of marketing for ASOS, and they have a £30 million budget for Europe for influencers. And I said, how do you spend that budget? Because I really wanted to understand, how do they find out who's got fake followers, who's got real followers, how to target them? And they said, 7-8 years ago, we used to traditionally find someone with 1 million followers and work out a rough budget. We're going to pay them 4 or 5 grand a month, or an affiliate code, so where we get a kickback, and then we'll pay them accordingly. But now they don't do that anymore. They spread their £30 million budget over micro influencers that only have 1,000, 2,000 followers, 5,000 followers. And they do that because they know they're not faking their following. They're going to reach real people. The cost of acquisition is cheaper because those influencers are cheaper. And they're going to spread all that money towards real people. So even these big corporations have realized it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It's just about, have you got a genuine following?
That's smart. That's smart. When did they implement that? Do you know?
In the last year. So in the last year, they're no longer, obviously there'll be a big brand ambassador, a big celebrity. Yeah. But now it's about the micro influencer and the nano influencer. A nano influencer is someone with only 1,000 or 2,000 followers. We might fall into that category. But we can create influence within our community, and that influence will generate a lot of money. Like there's you've got 2,000 followers. There's no reason why you can't run a £1 million turnover business a year on 2,000 followers. Because if each guy is paying you 7, 8 grand, and you've only got 100 customers, and think of how much wealth you can create just from those customers. Yeah. So you don't need a big following. The issue that you do have is if you have a big following and it grew back when pictures were the thing, and now you can't monetize that audience, it's a lot harder now, because now you've got to take a step back, check yourself, check your ego, and remember you're not entitled, because these followers aren't buying any of your shit. You need to actually start your messaging again.
Yeah, 100%. It's knowing your audience as well. It's really interesting with ASOS. I didn't know that. It's like my audience right now. Every single follower I have is a business owner. Yeah. So when I put content out there, it resonates with a lot of people. Whereas, I mean, you've probably had this conversation before, but you probably get these women that have like 2 million followers just showing their ass, and then when they try and sell a booty program, they get no sales because it's all a load of young horny dudes actually following them. It's not actually the right customer. So yeah, you're completely right.
And the girls that are selling the booty plans are the ones that actually talk directly to those girls and portray an image which is actually attractive, not in a way physically attractive, but in their copy, in their words. Yeah. And that's the attraction that they're going to buy.
Yeah, completely agree.
You're obviously doing really big things. I think we should have another catch up, and we'll probably exchange details, and we'll go into like a further conversation. But I can tell that you're like, you've got a lot to give and a lot of energy to give. So I think anyone that works with you will benefit a lot, especially knowing your background now on like how you've come up, because all those reps will result into results for others, because you've got the scars, so others don't have to gain them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to find out more about you.
Yeah, you'll have to start a podcast.
I prefer being a guest. I prefer what you do on your side of things, questioning and steering the conversation. I'm someone that can talk about a topic and just run with it. But I find it very, very hard what you do and actually steering the conversation and actually running it. So hats off to you.
I promise you can do it. The reason why you can do it is because you're inquisitive and curious. And that's all you have to be. You don't have to think of anything special to say. I'm genuinely interested in making friends and getting to know people. Yeah. Like if I met someone in a coffee shop and they're a stranger sat next to me, I'm probably going to have about the same conversation if they're thinking the same as me. Yeah. And that's why I don't see it as any different. I was nervous in front of the camera. I actually resisted making content for 4 months. So I decided I'm going to make content. I kept going up to my camera. I bought a Sony ZV-1, kept looking at it every single day. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Recorded myself. I hate it. And then eventually I heard someone say, how are you ever going to get good if you never embrace being shit? And then I thought, it's time to be shit. So I put up YouTube videos and I've left those on. You can scroll on my YouTube and then you can watch all the videos where I'm like really nervous. And I purposely love having them there because it shows me constantly improving in front of the camera over time.
Yeah, love that. It's good for you to be able to watch back and have a look at that as well, which is pretty cool. But no, I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks, man. No difference to like your body. Like you have no muscle on your body, and then you start to train. You look back at your progress, and you think, you know what? I'm glad I took that picture when I didn't want to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good speaking to you, Josh. We'll catch up offline. I'm going to send you details over.
Yeah, absolutely. Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, man. See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers, buddy. Thank you.